I want to know if, when the president held his dinner for 220 individuals who purchased the most of his meme coins, were there foreign interests attending that dinner?
Senator, we're here to talk about the Department of Justice and my budget for the upcoming year. I would think that you would want to talk about the leader of the Sinaloa cartel, who was living in Oregon, one of the top leaders. I would think that that's what you would want to talk about with me. When we captured him, he had $3 million cash in his home.
Attorney General, I know that you avoided the same question on the House side, but what we know is that many folks who attended this dinner were buying those coins because they wanted to influence U.S. policy. We had Mr. Javier Selgas, the head of Freight Technology, Inc., who said, I bought $2 million of these coins. I plan to buy $20 million because I want a favor from the president to change the policy regarding freight from Mexico to the United States. This solicitation of investments in his personal product, his meme coin, led to many people who were coming from foreign countries attending that dinner. Don't you think the American people have a right to know? And you said yourself, you were very concerned about foreign influence on our government.
Senator, it is wildly offensive that you would accuse President Trump of not protecting American interest in our country when he is the president that has shut down our borders, unlike Joe Biden. President Trump has done everything to make America safe, and you asked me the question, and keep America safe.
Do you know?
And you're trying to play a gotcha question at a budget hearing when you have murders left and right in your state, violent crimes, and we are doing everything we can to help your liberal state, whether you're liberal or not. We're going to do everything we can to help the citizens of your state, and you're trying to avoid that because you're trying to play a gotcha question with the President of the United States, and it's not going to work. We're here to talk about our budget for public safety.
I do believe that as the leader of the Department of Justice, you should be concerned about foreign influence. There was obviously a lot of foreign influence and individuals who said they were there for that reason. And so will you appoint a special investigator to make sure that that foreign influence does not affect the policies of the United States of America?
I'm not going to tell you what I will or will not do, other than I will do everything to keep the people of your state safe, even though you don't want to talk about anything to do with your state because of the crime in your state. You also voted no on the Laken-Riley Act. We are doing everything we can to protect the citizens of this country. You also said that President Trump encouraged protest. It was the opposite. He's done everything he can to keep us safe, and he will continue to, as well as the Department of Justice.
It speaks volumes that you won't answer the question about transparency when the president is asking people to invest in his company and his products, and that foreigners are attending these events. I think transparency would be appropriate. Are you going to recommend any ethics guidelines to make sure that foreign influence does not find its way in through the doors of the White House?
How do you characterize foreigners, the illegal aliens that have flowed into our country? Is that who you're talking about? You don't want to talk about them. You don't want to talk about the crime that has gone rampant throughout this country and your state.
Well, you know, these hearings are a chance for us to ask questions, and I assure you I'm engaged in national security in many, many ways. But this also I am concerned about. And let me turn to a different piece of the puzzle, because the president also has another cryptocurrency called USD1. It is a stable coin. There was a request by UAE to produce AI chips that would go to UAE. The national security advisor of UAE is also the CEO of MGX. So after that request for those chips occurred, MGX then said, we will buy 2 billion with a B, of the president's coins. And then the president went to the Middle East and said, we will get you those AI chips. Does this sequence of events in which a foreign government asked for a big favor, and we had previously banned these chips to UAE because of the national security concerns, then they buy $2 billion of the president's coins, and then the president goes to the Middle East and and says we will provide those chips, does that sequence of events concern you about foreign influence on the United States of America?
The foreign influence on America that I would be concerned about if I were you was the Mexican national that resided in Oregon, who we just arrested, who had 384 pounds of methamphetamine. The foreign individual who I would be concerned about if I were a senator from Oregon is the Honduran drug trafficker who was residing in Portland for distributing fentanyl. The foreign national I would be concerned about if I was a Portland senator, an Oregon senator, is a Mexican national leader of a drug trafficking ring. Another one, fentanyl, firearms, fatal overdoses, all in your state.
You have made your point.
57,700 fentanyl pills and stolen firearms in Oregon. That's what we should work together on, not gotcha questions during a budget
Let me
hearing on
recognize
public
Senator
safety.
Merkley.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The Attorney General certainly has made the point that she's very concerned about issues that I'm concerned about as well regarding the security of this country. But let the record note that in terms of foreign influence and the sale of foreign influence through the president's coins, she absolutely refuses to respond and instead turns to a whole list of different topics. I think it's important for the leader of the Justice Department of the United States to be very concerned about foreign influence, and I encourage you to take on that topic and not consider it an offense that those of us who are concerned here, Democrats and Republicans, want Americans to make American decisions, not foreign influence being bought through crypto coins.
Senator Murkowski.
Chairman.
What Senator Jeff Merkley did in that exchange was simple, but incredibly important. He asked a question that cut straight to the core of American democracy. Were foreign interests buying access to the President of the United States? And what did he get in return? Not an answer. Just political deflection, fake outrage, and an outright refusal to even acknowledge the question. Here's why that moment matters. The dinner Merkley referred to wasn't your typical fundraiser. It was reportedly a private event attended by individuals who had purchased large amounts of Trump's personal cryptocurrency. His memecoin. Not a campaign donation, not a policy meeting. A commercial product tied directly to the president's own financial brand. And according to multiple reports, some of those investors weren't even American. They were foreign business figures with clear stakes in US policy decisions. That's where the ethical red flags start piling up. Fast. Because when a sitting president's personal financial venture becomes a potential pipeline for foreign money, we're not talking about politics anymore. We're talking about possible violations of laws meant to protect US sovereignty from outside influence. Merkley's questions were precise and patriotic. Were there foreign nationals at that dinner? Did the Department of Justice investigate whether their investments were being used to influence US policy? These are national security questions, not political traps. Any Attorney General who values integrity should welcome them. Instead, the response was pure evasion. The Attorney General pivoted, deflected, and accused Merkley of playing gotcha. But that's not accountability, that's avoidance. Merkley didn't back down. He pressed further, citing credible reports that after a UAE-backed company agreed to purchase $2 billion worth of Trump's stablecoin, the administration suddenly reversed its position and approved the export of high-tech AI chips to the UAE, a move previously blocked for national security reasons. If that timeline holds up, it points to a potentially explosive conflict of interest. Foreign money possibly buying US policy changes. That's not just bad ethics. That's what foreign influence looks like when it hides behind private investment and digital currency. Merkley's persistence isn't about partisanship. It's about principle. Because when a president can personally profit from foreign buyers while shaping national policy, we enter uncharted territory for corruption risk. The Justice Department's refusal to even acknowledge the issue speaks volumes. It shows how normalized this danger has become, how blurred the line between public duty and private gain now is. This isn't just about one dinner. It's about the erosion of transparency, the collapse of ethical standards, and the slow transformation of government into a personal business venture. And if the Attorney General won't defend that boundary, who will? Because here's the hard truth. Foreign governments don't need to hack our elections anymore. They can simply buy influence. One crypto wallet, one dinner invitation, one handshake at a time. That's what Senator Merkley is warning us about. Democracy doesn't die in darkness anymore. It dies at private dinners, where loyalty is traded for tokens and transparency is treated as an inconvenience. Until someone in power answers the question, who was in that room? Every American should be asking who's really pulling the strings of our government. If you found this breakdown important, subscribe, share, and stay alert, because when power evades accountability, citizens must pay attention. Stay informed, stay active, and don't let the truth get buried under political spin.